Hey man, yeah, so I'm on chapter 25, Orphans Chapter, 1924. By the by the third week in November, it has been raining for 3 days straight. The wind gusts broke branches from trees and sent them whirling across lawns they were made of paper. Muddy water ran along the sidewalks and pooled in the roads, making Pia's walk back to the Hudson field like a single track. Normally, she enjoyed the leisurely stroll home after dropping off 10-year-old Margaret, 8-year-old Sophia, and even 7-year-old Elizabeth at school, even when it snowed. But now she couldn't wait to get back to the warmth of the house. She clutched her jacket collar under her chin, blinking against the icy drop hitting her face like 100 tiny bullets, and scuttered around men wielding umbrellas and women pushing baby prams. Thankfully, she was wearing gloves, a woman pushing, gloves, a habit she developed years ago, no matter the weather. Dr. Hudson thought wearing them might help dull unwanted sensations when she left the house, and luckily he's been right. She was glad, too, that she hadn't brought Cooper with her today, giving a 5-year-old inclinations towards catching colds. Along with making her cold and wet, the miserable weather seemed to mirror her mood. After helping Mrs. Hudson get breakfast ready while listening to Dr. Hudson reading an article in the morning's newspaper about the new Immigration Act signed by Calvin Coolidge, limiting the numbers of Southerns and Eastern Europeans, Arabs, and Jews allowed in the country, the purpose of which was to preserve the American idol of stabilize the idol of homogeneity and stabilize the ethnic composition of the population. A feeling of sadness has come over her that she couldn't seem to shake. Maybe the new act reminded her of her parents and how they come here seeking a better life, only to find death instead. Or maybe it reminded her of Nurse Wallace's hatred for Germans, which of course reminded her of her lost brothers, and how every clue over the last 5 years has led to more dead ends. They thought they finally found Nurse Wallace once, a few years ago, when Dr. Hudson talked to a hospital payroll clerk who has a record of a nurse with the same last name. But when they went to the address on the other side of the city, the woman who answered the door was not the Nurse Wallace they were looking for, and she never heard of any other nurses by that name either. Dr. Hudson had called St. Vincent's numerous times to see if Nurse Wallace had been back to get more children, but no one had seen her since the spring of 1919. It was like she disappeared from the face of the earth, which only strengthened Pia's suspicions that she had something to hide. Where the rattle had come from remained a mystery too. No local asylum employees had ever seen her before, nor did they have any memory of an immigrant being brought in with an infant, and the postman didn't remember dropping the package off either. If only they questioned Rebecca further before sending her away. She lied about her baby. Who knew what else she was being lied about? The third wave of flu epidemic had finally subsided during the summer of 1919, 9 months after the terror began. Everyone said the aftermath was chaotic, and record keeping had been a muddled mess, with children unaccounted for and families separated or wiped out completely. Hundreds of children, too sick or too small to remember their names after being picked up by visiting nurses, had been given to other people or sent away, some by mistake. Pia wondered how many times Nurse Wallace had taken advantage of those situations, how many times she made money off lost orphans and other children, and how many other people were like Pia, looking for vanished sons and daughters and siblings. No hospital or orphanage or temporary homes had any information on Arlie and Max, so she still believed Nurse Wallace knew where they were. Her greatest fear other than her brothers being dead, was that they'd been sent to another state on one of the orphans trains. But she had heard promising stories too, stories that gave her hope, like the one about her mother who fell ill and came home to find her 3 children gone, then opened her door 2 years later to find one standing in the hall, clinging to a Red Cross worker hand. Everywhere she went, the open air markets and trolleys, the alleyways and crowded streets, she looked for little boys about 6, blonde-haired twins with muddy blue eyes and very strong chin. But like Nurse Wallace, it seemed Ollie and Max had disappeared off the face of the earth. And maybe they had. Maybe she was searching for the ghost. Even now, she could still picture them sleeping in her parents' bedroom cubby, their little legs pulling up to their distended, distended bellies, their soft skinned faces, their long eyelashes like feathers on their pale cheeks. If she'd known back then what she knew now, she would have crawled into the hub cubby with them. The guilt of what she'd done and her failure to find out what happened to them felt like a bleeding wound inside her heart, constantly ripping open by the slightest poke or nudge. Today, for some reason, it had come flooding back, bringing to the forefront all she had been through and all she had lost. I'll be back, y'all.